Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to be showing you a couple of LEGO Star Wars Battle Packs. From The Rise of Skywalker, this is the Sith Troopers Battle Pack, and from the Disney Plus series, The Mandalorian, this is the Mandalorian Battle Pack. As you can see, these are rather small little sets, so I'm going to have to bring you in a little bit closer. I'm going to start with this one, and this is going to be a completely spoiler-free review, so for those of you who are interested in this movie, and or this series, but haven't been able to see either yet because life, it's okay, I'm not going to ruin everything for you. Right, so this is the entirety of what you get with the Sith Troopers pack, 4 figures as usual, and then this is a First Order Snow Speeder, first introduced 4 seconds in The Force Awakens. Let's look at the figures first though. The massable units here are Sith Jet Troopers. They're based on the same design as the First Order Jet Trooper, and I've taken off the jet pack from one of them just so that you can see more easily and quickly what the print looks like underneath. All the printing work, I think, on these figures is very good. It's nice and crisp, and it's nice and opaque. Everything is really well defined. Notice the fine details of the fine lines that are used on some of the Sith Trooper uniforms with some of the just a little bit of depth and texture, and that's done pretty nicely here in this Lego form. And there you see the jetpack with the printed tile on the back that's inserted into it. That's special for this. So again, you do get a jetpack for the other guy. Just want to be clear about that. I just took it off so you can see the back torso printing. And underneath here, show you the rest of the printing. Of course, both of these use angry clone faces, because what else exists? I'm sure I'm not the only one to find it a bit ironic that this Sith Trooper Battle Pack includes only one regular Sith Trooper. Yeah, more on that later. Again, very good quality printing though on that figure. Again, with the really, really fine lines that are printed really well. They're perfectly parallel. I mean, just the production quality there is fantastic. The figure on the right, which is kind of what people generally consider to be the filler, is well, it's listed as a First Order officer, and I said no spoilers. I'm going to hold myself to that. Technically, it's not correct to call that a First Order officer, but it's close enough. You know, it's definitely close enough. Essentially the same thing with just a red line going through it. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And all of these come with just the spring-loaded, the stud shooter, blasters. So they don't have anything special. Another angry clone there, but at least we do get one non-angry clone face out of the 4, and that's a good one. I would actually like to see more of that. It's a nice generic bad guy face, I guess. The speeder is able to comfortably accommodate 3 individuals. You can kind of attach other people kind of around the side as well, but the intention here is to have a gunner up front. They include one extra piece that you can attach to one of the stud shooters to make it look like more of a mounted heavy blaster. And then the driver sits over here. You have a couple of jumpers that just allow you to easily attach any extra weapons on there, and just seat on the other side. Engines or thrusters on the sides there. It's pretty straightforward, but it definitely does its job. For the sake of comparison though, check this out. So that's the original minifig scaled version of the same thing that we got previously for The Force Awakens. Was shown for, like I said, just seconds. It was originally designed to go this way, and these were going to be clear as the windscreens for the thing, and they almost got rid of it, almost gave up on it. Eventually, turn it around like this. So, personally, I think that's enough. Maybe something in between these two would have been okay for a small standalone, but, I mean, it's just a speeder, and it doesn't need to hold a whole bunch of troops. I think that this is scaled pretty well and is, a massable thing. A nice build to get with a battle pack. Here are the spare or leftover parts, including one Jet Trooper printed 1x1 tile and a bunch of stud shooter studs. The Mandalorian Battle Pack also comes with a speeder, but that one is just a single seater, and it is intended to be so. It is actually a canonical vehicle, and since I'm talking about it, I'll go ahead and just show that right now. It's known as a Mandalorian Speeder, officially, or a Balutar class swoop. Just a bike. So it just seats a single person there. I have a couple, I think these are supposed to be more down, but it just works on the ground a little bit better when they're up a bit. Has shooters on either side, and that's just that. But it is a pretty good representation of what it's intended to be. You can look up Mandalorian Speeder and see what the official design is supposed to look like. And there's what it looks like with a person on it. So I think it's actually a little bit oversized even for a figure, but it's not bad. And then this set also includes a little bit of terrain, which is a very basic thing, but it has a little bit of texture to it. It has a little clip on the back to hold on to an extra minifig accessory, but the main intention here is to put a person right in there. They call it like a fortification, and then you attach a blaster right there, and that's how it works. Now it becomes a defensible position. Here are a couple of the Mando figures up close, and notice there's a distinct difference in the visor shape between these two helmets. And it's not a thing of it being like a Phase 1, Phase 2 Mando Trooper helmet design. The one on the right is female, one on the left is male. That's what the distinction there is intended to mean. Cool thing introduced with the series. Not a spoiler though, it's really not. Nice variation. I will take you through all of these and then show you the additional print on the back with the special little capes that are kind of narrow removed in just a moment. But it's mostly about the color variation and slight changes to the general design from one to the next. I think they've done a pretty good job with that in general. Underneath each of these, you will find just a plain black head. I'm so glad they did that because for one thing, it makes these look better from all angles. Like you don't see any skin tone under there. You don't have to assume what their exact skin tone is. And, well, frankly, they're not angry clones. I'm sure that there are multiple Star Wars designers out there at LEGO who were just dying to put angry clones under these helmets. And I'm glad that they were overruled once and for all. In all seriousness, though, there may be a far less glorious explanation. After all, they did not include a human head or face for the Mandalorian, the main Mandalorian character, who is a known quantity. So they may have just been keeping them anonymous because they didn't know or they weren't supposed to know. But anyway, two more here. Again, lots of variation, in colors and design, but good consistency, I'd say, with the overall graphic design. They all look like they come from the same family. The actual designs in the show are relatively muted, a little bit dirty, a little bit, worn. They're not using new armor. So I think that LEGO has actually done a pretty good job here of using mostly muted tones, even though a lot of LEGO colors are very bright and vibrant. They've used enough of the gray and the sand colors to, I think, make them look pretty proper as LEGO representations. Here are all four with the capes and helmets removed, and now you can see the prints on the backs of those torsos. So they're fairly consistent in their designs, but the colors vary quite a bit. And finally, the spare parts for this set are dominated by stud shooter studs and also all the extra visors that are just not used with these characters. You can use those if you want, though, and they just add a little extra variety, a little something different. Pricing on these is absolutely normal. It's just the usual battle pack price. They haven't raised that again yet, so I really don't have any comment about that. I mean, you get 4 figures as usual in each, plus a decent build for each. A couple builds here, but it adds up to, I'd say, normal value for these. My comments are really about features that are included here. First of all, the Mandalorian pack, I think, is just great. I am looking for things that I may have missed or may have forgotten to call out that I don't like, and it's good. The only thing that I could ask for to improve this would be regular blasters. LEGO has started to include hair pieces with a lot of helmeted figures increasingly lately. They don't for these, which is perfectly fine, but in like City and stuff like that, Speed Champions I've already shown. It would be nice if they also included regular blasters with these battle packs because so many people want them. It's not just me, that's for sure. They have found, LEGO has found that a lot of kids like to actually physically shoot little shots off things, and that's fine. But a lot of kids don't care for that. A lot of kids prefer realism. And a lot of folks of different ages, of all ages, that buy LEGO stuff prefer little bit of extra realism with some semi-realistic blasters. And I think those pieces are just so simple and so quick and easy to produce that it would not impact the bottom line for Lego very much to make a whole lot of people happy by including those as alternates with these. They can continue, as far as I'm concerned, to include the stud shooters for battle packs like this if they, their research has found that it's smart and a lot of kids like it. But they should also include actual blasters that people can recognize as well. And then over here, I actually do have a fair number of comments about this, or at least some strong feelings about it. I strongly feel like this should not have included 2 jet troopers. One is okay. It's actually a pretty cool looking figure, much cooler than I expected, especially with the quality of printing on it. But it's a Sith Trooper battle pack. It should have included at least 2 Sith Troopers, because those dudes are pretty cool looking in universe, and Lego did a pretty good job of creating this figure design. And a lot of people want these just because, it's essentially a red stormtrooper, and you can use your own imagination, come up with your own headcanon for, how these came about, what they do or whatnot, whether you like them in the movie or not. They're just, they're Star Wars, they're stormtroopers, and they're red, and they're a little bit different, and they're cool. I think a lot of people want those, and it would have been better to include at least 2 of those, if not 3. The inclusion of the officer, the filler figure, as usual, is rather meh. It's okay that they do that, but I don't know of many people who prefer to get something like that to just a regular trooper. Like in Stormtrooper battle packs, you want to get lots of Stormtroopers. You don't want to get like 1 or 2 regular Stormtroopers and then one very highly specialized one, a snow trooper or something, and then a random officer, a random, crew member. So I think that trooper battle packs should focus on troopers, just like this did, which is great. This just gets it all right, kind of like the series itself does. So it kind of makes sense. And then the build for this one definitely makes sense. I think this is one of the better builds that they've done for these battle packs, just in general, over the entire history of the battle packs that they've done. So I'm happy with that. So not everything I feel is done right with this, with the figures, but a lot of stuff was done right, and I think pretty much everything was done right with this. They just need to also start at least thinking about including back some regular looking blasters. But that's it for my look at these. Again, they're very small and simple sets, so I reviewed them together. I also built them together. You can check out the real-time builds that aren't very long. I did both in one video, and also the sped up fast speed build version of the same is also available on that channel. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you again very soon.